Well, Switzerland and the Netherlands. According to one report, those are the only two countries in the world with public transport more expensive than Australia. So given we're in the top three, is it time for a radical solution?
How much do you pay to get to work each week? If you're a PT user living in Brisbane's outer suburbs, you could be forking out about $60 a week, and the rest of the country isn't much better, with Sydney and Melbourne commuters paying about $50 and Perth and Adelaide in the 40s.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. It's super expensive and very unreliable.
I actually walk home for about an hour now from the office instead of paying the $5 for public transport every single day.
Yes, Australia's home to some of the priciest transport systems since Steve Price's failed hot air balloon taxi service.
Pricey transport, 6 gold sovereigns per ride. All aboard, toot toot, all aboard.
So is it time for a bold new approach? Should we make PT free?
Yeah.
It should be free.
I think it should be free for older citizens, yes.
With the skyrocketing cost of living, free transport would ease the burden on lower income workers, students and those on a fixed income.
There are huge environmental benefits, obviously, but right now Australian families are spending an average of $100 a week just filling up their cars with petrol.
The idea isn't as mad as it sounds. More than 50 towns and cities in Europe have introduced fare-free PT, with Luxembourg the first country to make it free nationwide. Of course, Luxembourg is basically the size of the ACT and also happens to be the wealthiest nation in the world.
It's still important to look at the Luxembourg example because it raises debates about what is the role of transport in any city. Is transport a commodity to be made money from? Is transport something that provides a service as part of a network? And what does it mean for the functioning of the city as a whole?
But experts say it's no magic wand. Our transport systems just don't have the capacity for an influx of new users. And while many are put off by the cost, even more are put off by the lack of reliable service.
So the problem that we're facing is that we don't provide adequate services. So if public transport is free, but your bus only arrives once an hour or not at all on the weekends, it's kind of a moot point.
In 2023, a parliamentary costings report showed a one-year free nationwide PT trial would cost $2.2 billion.
Well, $2.2 billion is really a drop in the bucket in terms of the amount of expenditure that's spent on building roads, widening roads, building freeways. Billions and billions and billions of dollars a year.
So is this talk of complementary trains, buses and trams actually feasible, or is it all just hot air?
Don't knock hot air, that's how I make my living. Toot toot.
Toot, toot indeed.
I'm traumatised by that, I don't know what to say.
Do you have to pay for public transport? I just thought it was free and then you have to sprint once in a while.
Yeah, not in Melbourne, you don't have to pay, really. I mean, the problem is, though, isn't it, if we make it free for everybody, the system will be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Well, it's already croaking in a lot of places, yeah.
So, you know, you want to get on a peak hour train or a tram or a bus in Sydney, and the bus lines in Sydney are, you know, hundreds of metres long. So how would you'd have to spend so much money buying more rolling stock to cope with the numbers?
Well, they're saying a national trial would, be $2.2 billion for a year?
For a year.
That's a huge amount of money. Could they just, like, maybe make kids under 10 free? Have, like, a free Friday?
And people over 65.
Yeah.
What about if they just made, like, kids at the age of your kids free?
Perfect.
And, like, it just went up by a year every year.
Each time.
Would that be...
How nice.
I should get on board with the hot air balloon.
Yeah, right.
What do you charge for a ride?
It's expensive.
I know here in Melbourne
It's pricey.
the trains are free before 7 a.m. And I caught a train in here this morning for free. I had to wait around for 11 and a half hours, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah.